Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Well, it is, I think it's about 10 after 4. Let's see. It is 12 after 4 on Sunday afternoon. A very windy Sunday afternoon. Let's see what the temp is outside. Probably in the 70s. Oh, it says it's 79. That can't be. It says it's 79 degrees outside. So, anyway, I guess, maybe. I mean, it's very warm, but it doesn't, I think maybe because of the wind, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's 79, but it's a beautiful fall afternoon. My mums, you guys, are not doing so hot. My mums down there are not doing so hot. I just, especially the white one down there on the end, it just fell over in the wind, and then I went to go see how dry it was, and it was like dry as a bone. So I went to go water it, and to go water those mums. I was gonna water all my mums and my fern, and I wanted to see if, I don't know why I did this before I brought out these things to, like, these watering cans, but the hose actually does reach all the way down there to the end of our walkway. So I took the hose, well, first I watered my fern, and then my asymmetrical fern, and then I went down and I watered my mums. So I'm hoping that they turn around a little bit and still last, at least through next week, through Halloween. And if they don't last, then I think what I'll do is I'll probably, because the white one is like, it's the one that's dying. This one up here is doing okay. I can see I had to, because I just watered everything. You can see the white one is doing okay and the yellow one's doing okay. I have the crumble cookie coffin up here. Alex put it outside with the pumpkins last night, but the water is like down there from watering the plants, so I didn't want that stuff to get wet, so I put it up on the chair. But that white one is doing okay. This one down here looks rotten, so if it dies, I will throw it out, and then I'll put the rust one in the other thing and just take the other thing inside, and we'll just have the two rust ones on the end, because the rust ones are still doing okay. But yeah, I'm hoping that my mums make it at least through Halloween. I'm so full right now, you guys. We went to brunch, and well, I went to my party last night, and then I got home, and Alex went to a movie last night with his mom. I'll talk about all this in just a second. So he just kind of like, he had Chipotle last night, and then he just kind of hung out at home. And when I got home from the party, he was like laying in bed just like looking at TikToks and stuff. And so I got into bed. We got home like right at 11, so this would have been about 11:30, and I went to bed for the night, you guys, and slept all the way through till today. Oh. I got a really good night's sleep. I only actually woke up like twice during the night, and each time I was like having like really good dreams, and woke up and was like, oh, and felt so comfortable in bed, so cozy in bed. So slept through the night, and then we got up today and we went to brunch, and Alex had a bowl of tomato artichoke soup, and then he had his Cuban with sriracha, and he had his soup with croutons as well, and then he got coffee, and then I got the California Dreamer omelet, which is like white cheddar and jalapeno and green peppers, thank you. For those of you out there that said bless you. Jalapeno peppers and green peppers, and yeah, my allergies are driving me crazy today, and I actually did take my allergy medicine, I remembered, and but it's my allergies are kind of driving me a little bit crazy today, probably because it's warmer. I don't know, does that make any sense? It makes sense to me when I say it, but I don't know if it makes any sense. So anyway, California Dreamer omelet, and then I add Gouda to it. Our server that we're friends with there, she was like, you're gonna love next week, and I was like, why? And she was like, because we're having Gruyere cheese in our omelet. And I was like, oh my god, because I love Gruyere cheese. I actually just found out about it not too long ago from going to that other place, Rise. So that's next week, they're having that in the omelet. And then I had I had potatoes And then I had an everything bagel toasted with cream cheese. And I ate like half my omelet, half my bagel, and half of my potatoes. And I didn't bring anything home. Because I'd been bringing this stuff home, and then it just like sits in the fridge for like 4 days. So. And then afterwards, Alex and I went to the grocery store. I have to tell you what was so funny. So Alex just kind of like plays stuff. I don't know if it's Spotify or whatever he plays, but he plays something like some station like that, right? And it was playing like the whole Taylor Swift album, which I had just tweeted out on my Twitter. Hold on a second, I will read you what I tweeted out. I've never been like a huge Taylor Swift fan. Like I've never really, to be honest with you, like understood. Like I know that there are people out there that love Taylor Swift, you know, and whatever. And she seems nice to me, and I think she's very talented, you know. And we all love who we love, right? I mean, I think that's the thing, and that's what's so awesome about music. Like I don't really understand when people get real upset about like if you say like I don't like a certain musician, you know. It's like, I mean, I don't like screamo music, but does that mean that you're not going to like me as a person because I don't like screamo music? So I was looking in here to see. I know that there is Taylor Swift music that I have purchased. I know I have the song Mean on here because it comes up every once in a while. I do like that song. Oh, I looked through here and I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of her albums, right? So I have Lover, Hours, Begin Again, Look What You Made Me Do, Mean, Our Song, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, Blank Space, Style, and Bad Blood. So, I mean, I've liked some of her stuff through the years, you know? But I put out this tweet. I'm going to do a whole video about this tomorrow, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm going to review Taylor Swift's album as a non-Swiftie tomorrow. So, you guys are getting the preview version, but I tweeted out, hold on a second, because I felt like everything, I was getting on Twitter and like everything was about Taylor Swift's new album. And so I tweeted out and I said, I know I'm going to get canceled for this, but I don't really care about Taylor Swift or her new album. Now Dolly's new Christmas album, that's another story, because Dolly Parton's new Christmas album is out and it's so good, and it has like 3 songs of hers from the made-for-TV movie Smoky Mountain Christmas. It has like all the songs on there from Smoky Mountain Christmas. But anyway, we were listening to the album like as we were like going to brunch, and then after brunch we went to the grocery store, and then on the way home from the grocery store. So I probably heard like 6 of the songs, and I was like pleasantly surprised. I was like, I really kind of like this. It's very rare that I listen to an album, especially by somebody that I'm not a huge fan of, where I like 4 or 5, 6 songs in a row, you know? So anyway, then I went to the grocery store. Alex took me to the grocery store. I just ran in real quick, and I got 3 of those Mexican coffees that I really like. And then I got 3 things of iced coffee. I got 2, they didn't have the Starbucks blonde roast, so I got 2 Starbucks medium roast, and then 1 of the Califia brand blonde roast. I like the Starbucks roast better. And then then I always usually get 1 Califia brand if they don't have the blonde roast of the Starbucks. Did I get anything else? Oh, I got these nuts that I'm going to do a review video over to try. And then, is that it? Is that all I got? Yeah, it was kind of busy at the grocery store today. And then we came home. Yeah, and Alex was like, we were going to go to a movie. We were going to go to, what is that movie that we were going to go to? So Alex bought this package where we get so many movie tickets a week. Hold on a second. It was between something and Smile, and he didn't want to see Smile. He really wanted to see The Woman King. So we were going to go see that, but the movie started at 4:50 or 8:15, and he didn't want to go to like an 8:15 show because then we wouldn't get home until like 10:30 or 11, and he wanted to like relax and rest. So I said, well, babe, we'll just not go to the grocery store, and then I'll vlog afterwards, or I'll just come home and like vlog for like a half an hour or whatever. And so then after we got out of the brunch, she was like, why don't we just skip the movie? We can just go to it another night. And I was like, okay, if that's what you want to do. He just went to a movie last night. He went and saw that Ticket to Paradise with his mom, and they had a really good time. And then he actually got out of it like right as I got to Tanya. So I took an Uber to Tanya's house, and right as I got to her house, he texted me and he said, we're getting out of the movie like right now. And I was like, well, do you want to come to the party with me? And he was like, no, do you care if I just like stay at home and relax? And I was like, no, I don't care at all. I knew there weren't going to be, well, first of all, there weren't a lot of people there at the party that I knew. There were probably 30 people there, and I only knew like a handful of people. And I knew that there weren't going to be anybody other than, Tanya and her husband and my sponsor that he was going to know there. So I mean, he would have gone to, be sweet and be there with me, but I was like, just stay at home and relax for a night by yourself. So he had a good time just kind of like watching. He started watching some new show last night. I can't remember what it's called, but he was watching it when I came home. And he was watching that, and he was playing games on his phone and looking at TikToks, and he was just having a relaxing evening. So yeah, I took a Uber over to Tanya's yesterday, and I didn't dress up in a costume because I just wanted to be comfortable. I knew we were going to be sitting around a bonfire and things like that. So actually, and it was warm yesterday, so I just wore jeans and Birkenstock sandals and a t-shirt, and then I took my hoodie with me. Tanya, her husband, and her granddaughter all dressed up like pirates, like from what's the Johnny Depp movie? Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever it is. And it was funny because apparently Johnny Depp's character, Jack Sparrow, I guess is his character. So her granddaughter's like really into, she's like 18, almost 19. She's like really into the Jack Sparrow movies. And so she brought this like bottle of like IBC root beer with her. And we were in the car, and she like ran in at the last minute to get this root beer. She's like, oh, this is part of my costume. And we didn't like really, we stopped on the way and got like fountain pops and stuff. So anyway, I was like, well, do you want to get a fountain pop like at the gas station? She's like, no, I'm gonna, whatever. So then when we were in the car, like on the way I was sitting in the back seat with her to the party, and like Tanya and she and I were talking while her husband was driving. And so, well, Tanya's husband was driving, and so her granddaughter was like chugging this root beer, and I said, I thought that that was going to be part of your costume was the root beer. And she's like, no, it's supposed to be an empty bottle. And I said, why is an empty bottle part of your costume? And she said something about some line that Jack Sparrow says about where's me rum, or something, the rum is gone, or something like that. And Tanya started laughing, and she said, this is a sober party. Like, I don't know that's like maybe what you would have said. And she's like, oh, is it really? And we were like, yeah. And so she's like, okay, I'm not going to bring the bottle in. But then she looked so cute. She was like, and she did like eye makeup on Eric, and they went like all 9 yards of the costumes. And so everybody at the party was like, oh my God, she's so cute, and look at her, and she's all dressed up. She like really went all out on this costume, which it was like either people didn't dress up at all, or people like went all in on costumes. And so, well, kind of. There were like 4 women that were dressed like cowboys. And by cowboys, I mean they had boots on and cowboy hats. So, or cowgirls, I guess. Cow women. So, but she looked so cute. And she had her eye makeup done and everything like that. And everybody was commenting on it. And so we were like standing by the bonfire. And this one guy was like asking her about her costume and stuff. And so I was like, tell them about the other part of your costume. And she looked like real nervous, and Tanya's like, they'll think it's funny. And so she told them about, and everybody was like laughing. They were like, that is so cute, you should have done it anyway. So then we like felt bad that we were like telling her not to bring her the bottle of IBC root beer rum into the party with her. But we had a good time. We got there about 7:30, and we stayed there till about 10:45. We were like, when we got there were probably about 15 or 20 people. And at the height of the party, there was probably 30 people there, maybe more, maybe a few more. And then when we left, there were only like 3 people left. My sponsor was sitting by the bonfire with one other person. And then there were 2 or 3 people standing up on the deck talking, and that was it when we left. And there was a lot of good food. Unfortunately, I couldn't eat most of it because it was so funny because my sponsor doesn't really understand like being a vegetarian. I don't know what's really hard to understand about this concept, but so because like when I talked to her on the phone the night before, I was like, so like, do you need me to bring anything to eat, you know, and I said to her, I said, you know, there's only certain things that I could eat. And she goes, oh no, we have lots of things that you can eat here. She was like, I know, you know, that you're a vegetarian, but there's a lot of things that you can eat. And so on one side, they had like hummus, like one thing of hummus and like dip, like cheese dip, and like veggies and like whatever. And that was like by the stove. And then like over by the counter, she had like 4 or 5 crock pots. Tanya had actually made me vegetarian pasta salad and vegetarian coleslaw. Well, coleslaw is vegetarian anyway, you know, so that I would have something that I could eat, which I ate mostly Tanya's pasta salad. So these crock pots, like 3 people made chili, and somebody made ham and beans, and then there was this one that looked like potato soup. And so I was like, oh, potato soup sounds really good, right? And I said to my sponsor, I said, what is that? And that one, she goes, oh, that's chicken and velvet soup. And I go, oh, that looks good. She goes, well, you can have that. I go, no, I can't. I'm a vegetarian. I can't have chicken and velvet soup. And she looks at me, I mean, straight seriousness with you guys, okay? And she goes, I mean, there's just a little bit of chicken in there. She goes, there's not a lot. I go, I can't. And she started smiling because she knows, like, really how ridiculous it sounds, right? And I go, well, everything looks so good. And she goes, you could probably have the ham and beans and just pick out the ham. And I go, she was trying to be so sweet. I go, it's fine. I have stuff here to eat. There's pasta salad, there's chips and dip, there's veggies and stuff like that. So, and oh my God, somebody made those like butterscotch chocolate chip cookies. They were so good. I had like 4 or 5 of those. And so yeah, we had a really good time and just sat outside, and her family was there, which was really nice to see them, and a couple of them I hadn't met, so it was nice to meet them, and we had a good time. And then Tanya and Tanya's husband like brought me home, like he drove me home and everybody else was with them, and so then I got home last night and that was it. So it was fun. We had a good time. And I was gonna watch Fear the Walking Dead last night, and I was so tired when I got home. I mean, I like literally like fell right asleep. And I didn't set an alarm or anything. Like I was just like, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. And when I woke up, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, went to the bathroom and I was like, I'm just gonna go back to bed because I don't need to stay up all night long. I can just get a really good night's sleep. That's like the 3rd night this week that I've done that. And I feel very rested today, but because it's like so fallish outside and the leaves are blowing and stuff, I honest to God could probably go inside and take another nap. If I go in there and Alex is watching TV or something. He said maybe we would watch a movie at home tonight because we didn't go see a movie. There's actually a couple movies that I do want to see on Netflix. There's, hold on a second, I'm going to look and I'll tell you what the movies are that I want to see. What is this? 28 Days Haunted. 3 teams each spend 28 days in some of America's most haunted locations for a paranormal experiment based on the theories of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Oh my God. 6 episodes. It just came out. Okay, I have to put that in my list. Hold on a second. I'm typing this in my list. 28 Days Haunted. I have such these specific lists now of TV shows I'm watching and TV shows that I want to watch. Oh wait. I just put that, I was like, I wondered why The Watcher was on here. I was like, why is The Watcher on here? And it's because I'm putting it on my list of watch TV shows, and I need to put it on my list of next. 28. I feel like I can't even watch the shows I'm watching because as soon as I watch them or watch one or two episodes, something brand new comes out that I want to see. Okay, so Unsolved Mysteries, is there a new episode? No, I've seen all the episodes that are out of Unsolved Mysteries. What is this? Vatican Girl. The disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. From the producers of Don't F with Cats, this docuseries revisits one of Italy's most baffling and enduring missing person cases of all time. Okay, putting that on my list. That looks really good. Did these all just come out? New releases. What's The Stranger? This is number 2 in movies today. There are so many good things out right now, you guys. When people tell me that they can't find anything to watch, I'm like, here, what you need to do is you need to just call me up, because I literally have a list of 47 shows, and that's not even including all the shows that I want to watch that are on my list. I have so many shows that I want to watch. Okay, so... Oh, The Watcher is the #1 show in the United States today. People are going to be unhappy when they get to that final episode. I'm just telling you. They should have watched my review. They should have watched my review. They're not going to be very happy when they get to that final episode. Okay, so the top 10 movies in the United States today. The School of Good and Evil. I've heard really mixed things about that. The Stranger. The Curse of Bridge Hollow. I'd like to watch that. Luckiest Girl Alive. I watched that the other day. There was something else that what is The Stranger? In this contemplative crime thriller, an undercover cop earns the trust of a man the police believe abducted and murdered a child years earlier. Huh. That looks good. We should just go to my list. How do you get to your list? Do you know how to get to your list? I don't know how to get to my list. Oh, my list. Oh, Mr. Harrigan's Phone. That's another one I want to watch. Oh, Do Revenge. I already watched that. I don't need to have that on my list. It has on here thrillers you've watched, recently watched, TV shows and movies you liked. What does that mean you liked it? Did I have to put on there that I liked it? Because the only one on here is Twin Peaks. I love Twin Peaks, though. So I also just got done texting Melissa, which let me tell you what Melissa has done since Wednesday. You guys are going to die. Okay. I was so excited for her, and she was kind of like really unsure about this because it was something that she really wanted to do. Like, Melissa has really... She's so inspiring to me because, you know, like... I don't even know when this was. This would have been before I was on YouTube, but this was several years ago, and, you know, Melissa was like... Both of us were kind of like over the going out scene and things like that, and like her husband still likes to go out and hear DJs, and so he'll like meet up with Alex and whatever. And so Melissa's like, I feel like I just have to do something for myself. Like, I want to do something for myself. And she was really into like dog rescues and things to do with dogs. And I said, why don't you get involved in dog rescues? And so that's how she started getting like really involved in dog rescues. And now she's involved in like 3 of them and transports dogs and sits on boards and all this kind of stuff, right? You better just give up hope. No. I finally got mine watered. What? I finally got mine watered. They were dry as a bone. So Melissa has really like tried to step outside her comfort zone to do things that like excite her or that she's passionate about, right? Okay. So she was telling me, we were out to dinner, this was probably like 2 months ago, and we were out to dinner with like her and Jason, Alex and I and Jason and Melissa were out to dinner, and she said, I booked a cruise. And Melissa and I have talked about, like, never really, like, being excited about going on a cruise. Like, I've heard people that, like, say that, and then they go on a cruise, and then they fall in love with cruises, and they want to go on cruises for the rest of their life. So I don't know. I think if maybe I went on one, I would, like, maybe change my mind. But Melissa and I had talked about, like, never wanting to go on a cruise. And so, so she said, I booked a cruise. And I said, you did? And she was like, yeah. And I looked at Jason and I go, where are you guys going? And he goes, oh, I'm not going on the cruise. And I go, what do you mean? Like, Melissa, you're going on the cruise alone? Because, like, they always, like, go on trips together, right? And she's like, yeah. And I said, and she started laughing, and I go, who are you going with? And she said, I'm just going by myself. And I'm like, and, like, she's being very silent about it, like, keep, like, you know, but she was kind of, like, smiling, laughing at the same time. And I said, and Alex is like, but we're both, like, perplexed, right? And he's like, what cruise are you going on alone? And so she's like, you'll never guess when I tell you. Okay, so Melissa is a huge New Kids on the Block fan, right? Is that the, hold on a second, is that the band? I'm gonna get the band wrong. Oh God, why can't I, yeah, New Kids on the Block. She's a huge New Kids on the Block fan, right? I had to look up the member that she got to dance with on stage, which I'm gonna tell you in just a second. So she's like, I'm going on the New Kids on the Block celebrity cruise. And I was like, I didn't even know that there was a New Kids on the Block celebrity cruise, right? And she was like, I think it's going to be really crazy. She's kept on calling it, like, Drunk Moms Go Wild. And, you know, Melissa doesn't drink, right? So she's like, I think it's going to be like Drunk Moms Go Wild. And you don't really, like, know your roommate or anything like that. So she, like, just got a room, and, like, you just sign on to, like, be signed up, like, have a roommate, right? And so the roommate that she got, like, they assigned it, I think they assigned people that were, like, in close proximity, like, living area to each other. So she actually got a roommate that was, like, in Indianapolis. And so, like, 2 or 3 weeks ago, they, like, went out and they, like, had lunch and, like, met each other and talked about how excited they are and all this kind of stuff. And so before the trip, Melissa was kind of like, it was very similar to me when I started doing Booktubeathon, like the first year, where I thought it was completely cheesy, but, like, I was really passionate about it, but, like, I was kind of embarrassed about it at the same time. And I was really excited for her. I was like, and I was also inspired by her, because I was like, this is so cool to me that this is something that you so want to do that you don't really care what anybody has to say about it. So she was telling me last week, she was like, I have to get all my costumes together. And I was like, what do you mean your costumes? And she's like, well, every night there's a theme party. And I'm like, what do you mean there's, like, a theme party? And so, like, one night there's, like, you dress up as your favorite, like, superhero. And she was doing, like, Wonder Woman. And then, like, there's it's called GPS party. And so you wear something that's, like, has something to do with where you're from. So she was going to wear, like, checkered overalls and, like, a checkered hat, like, for the Indy 500. And so she was getting all of her costumes together, and she was getting really excited. So the last time that I talked to her, which was, like, Tuesday afternoon, I was like, are you super excited about tomorrow? And she's like, it's basically what she said was, I'm either going to have a total blast and meet a bunch of really great new people, or it's going to be a total, like, letdown, and I'm going to, you know, whatever. So I just texted her because I thought she was supposed to be coming back today, but she comes back tomorrow. And I was like, did you have so much fun or whatever? And she was like, I literally had the best time I have ever had in my entire life. And I was like, oh my God, did you? She was like, I met so many people. Everybody was so fantastic. She was like, Donnie invited me to his private after party. She was like, I stayed up till 6 a.m. with all of these women partying. She never stays up till 6 a.m. She was like, Donnie and Joey invited me on stage to dance. She was like, it was so much fun. And it was funny because she sent me this picture. And it was, like, all of these women, like, in the audience, and they're like, ah! Like, Melissa's there, and they're giving her a hug, and it just, she had such a blast. And so I did ask her, I said, how were the buffets? Because Melissa hates buffets. And she said, what did she say about the buffet? She said, it was, hold on a second. What did she say about the buffet? Not bad, not great, like a regular all-inclusive, is what she said. And, I asked her if she met Jenny McCarthy, because that's Donnie Wahlberg's wife, and she said no, she wasn't here this time. And I said, she said, best 4 days of my life. It's been incredible. I even stayed up until 6:30 a.m. partying. I'm so happy for her, because it stopped. I'm so happy for her though, you know, because like, I think for me, it's such a great reminder to do those things that you're passionate and excited about in life, you know, and to do things that are kind of outside of your... You guys cannot see it, but it is like the wind is like blowing all the leaves up here and stuff like that. But I think it's such a good reminder to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, and to do things... I mean, we only live once, right? Like, that's it. And to do things that are going to make us so happy and so excited, and it's such a good lesson for me, because I think that I'm somebody that so holds back on doing that stuff. And maybe part of it is my social anxiety. I feel like my social anxiety in the last couple months has kind of like reared its ugly head again a little bit. Not to where like I get invited to stuff and I don't go, but like where it's just been real easy for me just to you know, sit here and watch TV shows and be a homebody and all that kind of stuff. Oh, my other neighbor there's another neighbor in the neighborhood whose name is Boo, or has a dog named Boo, is walking. I can hear, because my neighbor across the street, she's like, hey Boo, hey Boo. And she always says to Boo Radley, Mr. Boo Radley, it's my favorite dog in the neighborhood. I don't feel the anxiety as much as I used to, you know? Like, I don't feel it as strongly. Like, I will say, like, at the party last night, like I didn't know a lot of the people that were there. So, my sponsor and I have different home groups. And so, like, a lot of the people that were there were from... So, she goes to, like... There are 2 meetings that she goes to pretty specifically. And one is her home group, which is a mixed group of men and women. A lot of men that are like old timers in the program. And then she goes to like a women's group. And so there were quite a few women there as well. And so like I know these people to say hi to them, but like I don't, like, hey, how are you doing? It's good to see you, that kind of thing. But they're obviously a lot closer to other people that, like Tanya was saying, like we should have a party like this of people from our home group, because then we could like get to know everybody's like wives better and stuff like that. Because like they brought their wives and whatever. Well, I mean, I don't know them well enough to like, you know, it's not like I couldn't, but I don't know them well enough. And so I ended up at one point just kind of going down and sitting by the bonfire with Tanya's granddaughter. And I ended up speaking to this woman that I had kind of like known through other people, and it was so interesting because we started talking about our stories, and we had like literally gotten sober at like within a year of each other, and we started talking, and we were talking about, and whenever you go to like a sober party or sober get together, there's always sober talk, right? And so I had overheard people talking about, we were talking about, like, does it really get easier the more time you have? Like, the more time sober that you have, does it really get easier? You know, or does it come along with its own bag of tricks that's more difficult? Because I think that is the case. I think that you know, when I first got sober, I have like a seed or something, I think from my everything bag, all stuck between my teeth. That's sexy, isn't it? That's exactly what it is, because I can taste it. Anyway, it's gone now. Sesame seed, I think. My neighbors across the street, she told me they're having filet mignon. They're going to split it. And then twice baked potatoes and salad. Should I ask her if they're going to have dessert? Are you having dessert with that big dinner of yours? What? Are you having dessert? She can't hear me with the wind. You know, like, I think when I first got sober, it was like just not using from day to day was so hard. Like, just to not pick up day in and day out, like, that was it, right? It was like, go to a meeting, call your sponsor, don't pick up today. Like, that was so big that for me at times, like I've talked about on here, it was literally like hour by hour, you know? And it was, like, this is so difficult, you know? Hold on. It was like, this is so difficult. And, but in a completely different way, you know? That's my mom and my aunt's friend. She always walks by here and she never looks over here. She always used to always look over here and we would, like, talk and stuff like that. But anyway, you know, but I remember those early days and thinking to myself, God, this is, like, so hard. Like, this is so difficult. Like, I can't do this. Like, I can remember literally thinking to myself, I can't do this. And that's when I would call people and people would say, yes, you can. You can do this. You just put one foot in front of the other. You stay sober. You call us. You keep yourself busy. You go to a meeting. That was the other thing that was interesting last night, was that I got sober going to this clubhouse that I haven't been to in quite some time. And several of the people that I talked to last night are still going to that clubhouse. And they were like, oh, there's this really great meeting at such and such time and at such and such time, and you should try this meeting. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try some of these different meetings. Like, you know, I miss kind of like meeting some new people and whatever. And that was nice because we were like all sitting by the bonfire talking and whatever. But so this woman and I were talking, and we like know so many people in common. It was so strange. And I guess not really, you know, but anyway, I said something about, she said, but do you think it really gets easier the older that you get in sobriety? And I said, well, the difference is in early sobriety, it's about the difficulty in, like, the next drink, right? Or the next drug. And, which I think still exists, the longer term sobriety that you have. I don't necessarily think because you wake up and you have 27 years sober, that means you're any farther away from the next drink, okay? Because if you're not doing what you need to be doing, I think you're just as close. I think somebody that has, and I really do believe this, okay? I think somebody that has 3 or 4 months sober could be farther away from their next drink than a person that has 27 years sober and isn't doing anything. And I really, truly believe that. And so, you know, because I've met a lot of people that have long-term sobriety and aren't doing anything for their sobriety, and they don't seem happy, joyous, and free. And I think to myself, because I have been there at times in my sobriety, like, why did I come so far to not enjoy the things that life has to offer me? And so we were talking, and I said, you know, today my focus is really on emotional sobriety. And she went like that, and she goes, and that's the trick, right? And she said, we were just talking about this, about how the opposite of emotional sobriety is chaos. And when you're living in chaos, what you realize is you have no emotional sobriety. And emotional sobriety is, who are you when you put the drink or the drug down, right? Like, there's a lot of people that call that dry drunks or whatever, right? But, like, who are you when... You know, it was interesting to me because I did this video on my Peterisms channel, and I was talking about, like, just trying out 12-step programs or whatever, and there were several people that commented on the video, and they were like, you know, like, oh, I went to 12-step meetings, and that wasn't the thing for me, and I felt very criticized, and then they were talking about, like, what's it called? Oh, shoot, oh, why can't I think of what it's called? Hold on a second. I don't want to misquote this, so hold on. Medication-assisted treatment, okay? And so they were talking about, like, Suboxone as far as, like, a withdrawal symptom or a withdrawal technique and things like that. Well, like I worked in treatment programs when Suboxone, which is called buprenorphine, which first came out, and at that time, there were a lot of people that were being put on Suboxone because they couldn't have long-term sobriety, and they had multiple treatments and they weren't successful off of opiates. And so, what they would do is they would put them on Suboxone, but then they would require them to go to 12-step meetings or outpatient counseling. I think that's fine. I think that's great, and I don't judge anybody for how they do things. People ask me all the time, would you sponsor somebody that is on Suboxone? Absolutely, I would, as long as they wanted to work a program, and they were asking me to help them work a program, I think it's different when you are, and I think anybody out there that's an opioid addict knows this, it's different when you're on Suboxone as a maintenance drug and a withdrawal drug, and you're manipulating Suboxone. And manipulating Suboxone means you're using dope Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or using Suboxone Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to get you through the week, and you're using heroin or opioids on the weekend, right? And that's what a lot of addicts do to get them through the work week or whatever. A lot of people do that, and I think that's really, to be honest with you, I think that's where a lot of people that aren't educated on how Suboxone can be used have a really negative attitude about Suboxone and other things today. Like, another person put on their antabuse and whatever. Hey, listen, I've just never really, to be honest with you, in 27 and a half years sober, I've never really seen many people on antabuse that have been super successful. Antabuse is a drug that if you drink on it, you get violently ill and you can end up in the emergency room. I've also known people that have drank through that and gotten so violently ill at home that they have forced themselves to get so violently ill that then they can drink. Because once you get past a certain point, you can drink on it. There's another drug out there, I can't remember what it's called. It's similar to Suboxone, but it's like a patch, I think. It starts with a V. I don't remember what it's called. Somebody will know what I'm talking about out there. But I've known people that have used on that before. So they're not like a perfect solution. My attitude about addiction today, and I've stood by this since I have been on, if you ask me personally for myself, like, I've had close friends of mine that have been on Suboxone and worked programs and have been on Suboxone for very long periods of time, I feel like that's kind of a different and separate kind of thing. I don't even know how I got into this whole conversation, but I was talking about that post that I made on my, but the other thing is that like when I got sober, those things didn't exist, we didn't have Suboxone. We didn't have all of these different drugs now that out there it was like you go to meetings and you stay sober. My only thing is this, okay, and I would never be somebody that would turn somebody away from a meeting if they were on that. My goal is, as a sober person, is I just don't want one more person to die as a result of this disease of addiction, period. So whatever has to happen for that person to not die, they still have got a breathing chance, okay? Whatever they're doing, they still have a fighting chance to stay alive, and that they may be able to do something down the road. I don't think it has to look like a perfect solution day 1 or day 100 or day 1,000. Like, they still have a fighting chance, right? And I think if they're not using and they have breath in them, like, that's great. Do I know, like, diehard sticklers that are like, well, if they're using Suboxone, they're not sober? Yeah, I know people that are like, Peter, you still drink caffeine, you're not sober. And I'm like, get the F out of here, okay? People say that to me, I've had, not all the time, people don't say that to me all the time, but do I have people that are like, you drink caffeine, you're not sober? Yeah, I do have people that say that to me. But it is what it is. The only thing for me, and this is where, you talk about emotional sobriety. That's how I was talking about this, is for me, emotional, and I'm just talking about this in terms of my experience, strength and hope. Emotional sobriety is, who are you when you put down the drink or the drug? And that doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be a person at 20 years sobriety to be talking about emotional sobriety, right? Like, you could be at a year and talking about, or 6 months and talk about emotional sobriety. For me, the whole idea of a 12-step program is that step 1 is really about the drugs or the drink, right? After that, everything else is really about am I as a person once I put that drug or that drink down? So my concern has always been for people out there, like, hey, great, I'm so glad that you're not drinking, shooting up, using, eating pills, congratulations to you, and I hope that your life gets better, right? But are you also willing at some point, because now you've given yourself another chance, to take a look at all of that deep, dark stuff down there, that you've harmed yourself, you've harmed other people, the defects that have come along with that? And if you don't want to do that in a 12-step program, don't do it. You don't have to do it in a 12-step program. There's a lot of other ways to do it out there. Google all the different ways to get sober. There's so many different programs out there, you know, like the SMART program, religion, if you want to do that, you know, and, you know, there's a lot of different ways out there. But I've also met a lot of people that they put down the drug or the drink and they're really, really angry. And I'm talking about like at 20 years. I know people that go to meetings every single week and are just as angry today, because I'm not a believer. There's a saying that says meeting makers make it, and I am not a believer in that, okay? I am not a believer. Hey, how are those fillets coming along?
The fillets?
Yep. Are you having dessert?
What?
Are you going to have dessert?
We don't do dessert, maybe ice cream. Baked potatoes and fillets.
I heard about those twice baked potatoes. Those sound good. They're so cute. She's working out in the yard. He's grilling out in the driveway. I love it. It's such a happy neighborhood. But, you know, like, the thing for me is, like, okay, the whole saying of meeting makers make it. And what I'm saying right now, I'm telling you right now, there are people out there that this is not a popular conversation, okay? And this is just my experience, strength, and hope. This is just my perception. This is just my opinion about how I feel about things, right? And I'm no representative of any 12-step program. I think it's great to go to meetings. I love going to meetings, you know? I get a lot out of going to meetings. Meetings are not the end-all of working a 12-step program. It's a lot about doing the work. It's a lot about working 12-step program, doing inventory, being of service to others, calling addicts and alcoholics, calling your sponsor on a regular basis, being accountable to people, you know, taking a look at, do I have a higher power out there, which that scares so many people, right? I remember, like, I was so unwilling to kind of like cross this bridge of like looking for a higher power, because I think that like what we hear is, well, first of all, as addicts and alcoholics, we're not going to be controlled by anything out there, right? But then it's like, there's this huge hawk. You guys, some weird stuff has been happening around here lately, I just have to tell you. Like earlier today, the lights right inside were like flickering. Never happened before. A hawk has been flying, it's still flying up there. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it up there? I know it just went away. But this hawk has been flying around here the whole time I've been talking about this. And I don't know if you know this, but a hawk is the sign, it's like the veil between the living and the dead. And it was like flying like low too, which was kind of weird. So anyway, I have my sweatpants pulled up really high. Do you ever do that? I think so many people get really, really scared of this idea of a higher power, of like God, right? Because then what they hear is religion. Oh, you want me to start being religious. This isn't about religion. If this was about being religious, I wouldn't be here today, period. This is about, you know, like, is there a possibility that there is something out there that's greater than you? Is there a possibility that that could be true, you know? And the thing is that I think this is what it came down to for me. I was so willing to put any substance in my body to change my mind, to change my mood, to alter my feelings. But when it came to taking a look at that there could be something out there that was greater than me, I wasn't willing to give that any merit whatsoever, okay? I would have given a pill that was the size of an eraser on a pencil more power than I was willing to give any kind of idea of a higher power. And that's some scary stuff. Hey, y'all are dressed up tonight. Is there a party? Have fun. And I think that's scary, you know? I think that's scary that... What time is that? Oh. I think that's scary that I was willing to do that, you know? And so then I was willing to kind of give it a chance. I'm not going to BS anybody and say that 12-step programs are not about higher powers, because they are. And it's about turning your life and your will over to a higher power. Turning your life. It's not just about turning over drugs and addiction. It's about turning your life over to that as well. And that doesn't mean that, you know, you're the super religious person, unless that's what works for you. But I'm not. I never have been. And it's okay. And I'm an extremely spiritual person. You know, I sit out here on the front porch and the leaves fall and they turn colors and the wind blows. And I think that's God, you know. I smell the mums and people walk by and they're friendly and they smile. And I think that's God, you know. And I hear a song I haven't, you know, I was sitting out here the other night and this guy down the street, like I was talking about him the other night, but it's like just hearing him play his music on the street and it's like echoing through the street, like God's in that a little bit to me, you know. Sitting at a bonfire last night talking to a woman that we got sober so close together, and we're talking about emotional sobriety, and she snaps her fingers and says, and the opposite of emotional sobriety is chaos. And in my head I'm thinking to myself, when's the last time you were living in chaos? Because you don't want to, you came too far to live in chaos, right? And that's the trick to me. So I don't have any issues with people that want to use maintenance drugs to get sober if that's what if they're on doctor required maintenance drugs. More power to you, okay? But are you also willing? And you don't have to. It's not like I'm going to say all of a sudden, like, oh, they're not any more sober than the rest of us. It's like, this is like where it gets so weird, and I think that a lot of people are like this, but I'm not. It's like, oh, well, you're more sober than I am because of this. This is not a race. You know what I mean? This is just not a race. But what makes me sad, I guess, and what the question I would ask is, are you willing to take a look? Because like I said, I've known a lot of people that are sober, okay, but haven't really taken a look at all of this stuff that's happened in their life, the trauma, the neglect, the abuse, the pain, all of the things that they've done in their life, all the resentments that they've had, all the anger, the fear, all the conduct that they have had as a result of their use, and really take a look at that. And the reason why we take a look at that is to get rid of it. Take a look at it face on and say, this is who I was. I don't want to be that person anymore. Why was I that person? What happened? What's the theme in there? What's the pattern? Can I find that? And then that affected me in these conducts and these, you know, when we talk about, you know, character defects, and this is who I was in my character defects, and I don't want to be that person anymore. And then the way that we make up for that is going to those people and making amends. And then once we've done that, we're able to live happy, joyous, and free, you know. And that doesn't mean that we stop doing inventory on ourselves. But for me, it always kind of makes me sad. And it's like, when people will say, well, I'm just as sober as you are. I'm like, I never said you weren't. Like, you know, for me, there have been periods, like the 4 years I didn't go to meetings, where I wasn't doing anything and I wasn't happy, but I still said I was sober. And I was dying inside. I was miserable inside. And I don't want that for anybody else. I do not want that for anybody else. I have had friends of mine take their lives, not one, not two, but many friends of mine take their lives inside the rooms of 12-step programs, because when they came to meetings, they were telling people that they were okay and they were fine, and they acted like they were doing stuff, and they were dying inside. And I don't want that for anybody, you know? So I loved that she said to me last night that the opposite of emotional sobriety is chaos. Because then all I have to ask myself is, am I living in chaos today? And if I'm not, then hopefully I have a chance for emotional sobriety. And emotional sobriety is, well, are you happy, joyous, and free? Are you living a good life? You know, and I want to live a good life today. I really do. What's coming down the street? Something. Up, kids. Mom talking on her phone, and her son's on his bike with his training wheels. Such a beautiful Halloween fall day. This got to be kind of a deep conversation today, didn't it? Cheers to that. And I've almost made it in an hour. I can't believe it. when I was watering my mums out there, like my pumpkins were getting wet underneath it, and I was like, oh, please don't let I haven't even touched my pumpkins since we brought them home, so they could be full mush, and I don't even know, and I was like, please don't let them get mushy. I think like the next 2 or 3 days in a row, I'm going to try to every single day, especially since I have the hose over there now to like the left. It's like just in like where the hostas are. What is so weird to me, you guys, let me just show you this really quick, is that these hostas right here have not changed at all, but those hostas completely are yellow. Like, what happened that those hostas like changed so much? But the other, maybe it's because they're closer to the house, I don't know. But I think like the next 2 or 3 days, I'm just going to try to water the mums like every single day. That fern, she needs to be thrown out. She is sad fern lady. Look at her over here. Sad fern Sally. But she's still kind of going a little bit. She looks good when she's hanging up with all the mums. So I'm like, I'll just wait until, I'll wait. Our plants inside are actually doing really well. What's so funny is, though, that we have them, like, all around the chair, like, in the living room. They're all, like, around this chair. We need to find a new place for some plants in there. There's, like, this little itty-bitty bee that's going from plant to plant. It's like this little itty-bitty bee. It kind of doesn't feel like a Sunday. Alex and I were talking about that the other day. That's like... I can't remember what day it was, but I said, it doesn't feel... He was like, yeah. Oh, it must have been Thursday when we were watching TV, because I said, it doesn't feel... Was it Thursday? I said, yeah. And he goes, yeah. He was like, I was just yesterday. I was like, I can't believe that. It's only Wednesday or something. I'll tell you what's killing me is that I don't have a hair appointment until the middle of... November, and my hair is already so long, you guys. It's like, looks so bad, and my sideburns are getting really long, and I'm so scared. So I used to trim my own eyebrows, and I used to know how to do it with this old, I had this old beard trimmer, and I knew how to do it, and I would just like set it on 3 and like trim my eyebrows. Well, I got this new beard trimmer and threw the old one out, right? And so I did it one day, and Alex and I were getting ready to go out, like downtown somewhere, and I trimmed them, and like I cut off like half my eyebrow. Do you guys remember me talking about this? But anyway, Alex laughed his butt off. He thought it was so funny. So like since that day, I will never trim my own eyebrows. Like, I'm terrified. I won't even do it with like where you do like what do you call it? I was going to call it a fork. Where you do it with like a comb and then you like trim it. I won't even do that because I can never get them even and whatever. And I noticed that there's like on one eye, there's like one white hair that's like all the way over. Whenever I go in there, my hairstylist, she's always like, oh my God, she's like, your eyebrows are so long. So my eyebrows are already like super long right now. And I have like 3 weeks until my hair appointment. And I'm like, and when I went in there last time, she was like, what do you want? And I said, well, I don't want it super long, super short. I said, I just want it trimmed up, which had I gotten it cut super short, I probably wouldn't notice it as much right now, but I just got it trimmed up. So now it's like, oh, I don't know. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. I'm a vlog watcher. I'm a vlog watcher. Yes, I am. Are any of you singing that song out there with me? This one tree across the street, she still hasn't changed her leaves. Like, most of her leaves haven't really... Why do I always say a tree is a she? I don't know. But most of her leaves have not changed. And what did my neighbor call that tree? She called it something. It's like the... What did she call it the other day? Because she said she doesn't like it. It's in her front yard. It has the kind of... what's that on a tree called? I can't remember any words today. But it looks like... What's the word I'm looking for? Why can't I think of that? The stuff that falls off on the side of a tree, the wood. The wood. It's not that. It's not what it's called, though. But anyway, she was like, I don't like that tree at all. It just, all that stuff falls off. I think it's actually kind of a pretty tree. But the leaves have not changed yet. And I'm like looking, it's like 1, 2 leaves fall off. Like, compared to the rest of the leaves, like, our yard is getting covered in leaves. But this tree is still really full. I'm a vlog watcher. Yes, I am. Why can't I think of what that word is called? Whew, that breeze is so nice. Not sap. It stopped and I was kind of like daydreaming out there looking at the tree. Not sap. I'm going to have to look it up because it's going to drive me crazy. Parts of a tree branch. Let's just look up that and see if it... Bark. Bark. That's the word I was looking for. Here are the different kinds of... I looked up parts of a tree branch. Trunk. Heartwood. That's the middle of it. Crown. Bark. Twig. Branch collar. I never heard that before. And stem. Does it say stern or stem? Stem. I know what a stem is. This is too much for me. This is like botany. This is like botany and too much for me. Too much for me. That's where I was looking at the serial killer. American Horror Story. Did you guys see that I did a review of American Horror Story NYC? The first 2 episodes over my Peter Reviews channel. I'm having so much fun reviewing TV shows and movies over there. So please go check it out. And yeah, so I'm going to get off here now. I did an hour today. I did an hour, so I'm going to be shooting for more of the hours. And I'm going to go inside and hang out with my husband now. So anyway, thank you for hanging out on the front porch with me today. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a beautiful early evening. It's only 5:13 p.m. So I've got all the rest of the evening to hang out, and I'm really excited about that. I didn't make any other videos on any of my other channels today because I just wanted to kind of like vlog and relax. And so yeah, so anyway, let's see. Oh, but I will be back tomorrow with full videos on all of my channels because I've got topics to cover on all of my channels, and I'm really excited about that. And if you have recovery-based topics that you'd like me to talk about, please go comment on any of my videos, probably more my most recent videos on my Peterisms channel, and I'll see those over there, and then I can pick those as a topic to talk about if you'd like that. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I've had a really fun day, and I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Sunday. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And I hope that you guys are getting relaxed, rejuvenated, refreshed, and renewed for the week ahead. I thought of 4 right away. And remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but shh, don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. You can also start over your week if you need to. If it starts off, you know, and not a great note. But I also think that Sundays are a really good day to reach out to somebody because it just, you know, I don't know. Sundays is just such a relaxing day, family-friendly day, you know. Not family-friendly, but family day, friendly day. So just reach out to somebody and let them know that you're thinking of them. And I love you guys. Oh, also be kinder to one another. Love one another a little bit more, and be kinder and love yourself a little bit more. And be kinder to yourself and love yourself a little bit more. And I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Oh, and for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, one more, I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Happy birthday, Lena. Love you.